Alright, so today we're going to take a trip down memory lane with this person, Taylor. We're going into the archives of the before when I started this channel the second time and stopped posting about, I think it's 3 years ago at this point, somewhere around 3-ish years ago. This is one of the more popular of the interior design style series that I left right in the middle of when I stopped making videos last time. I was trying to do 20 different videos at different interior design styles. This is episode 15. I think I did 16 in total, but this one has like 18,000 views, so even though I stopped filming shortly hereafter, I ended up getting quite a few views once I stopped making content. These are not as cringe-worthy as before I started doing interior design content. If you really want a good laugh, sort it by like oldest to newest. There are some horrible videos I started. So hopefully this one isn't too bad, but I haven't really watched this. November 10th, 2021. Yeah, so over 3 years ago at this point. Let's watch this video and see what we think, what I think.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel where we talk about interior design tips and inspiration. Today we are on another design style series video talking all about Mediterranean interiors. If this is the first video that you are watching of this series, we go over background information on each interior design style, some key elements on how you can identify the style, 3 ways on how you can bring this style into your home right now, and also suggest a few other styles that are similar in case you want to explore some other ideas.
I think it's funny / I do kind of like my essay format, like here are my 3 main points. Let's get into it.
We are discussing another European inspired interior today.
Simple but romantic. I mean, kind of accurate, but also kind of funny.
So we're really pulling inspiration from Italy, from Greece, from Spain, anywhere in that kind of southern region of Europe, right above the Mediterranean Sea.
You don't say. The Mediterranean style is connected with Mediterranean Sea.
Overall, the aesthetic of this design style is pretty simple, but also very romantic. There is an emphasis on indoor-outdoor living in this region of the world because the weather is typically so nice all the time, and so you'll see a lot of nature being pulled into this design style.
I think I just said nature very oddly. Okay, I think there's something wrong with my phone. Pause. Okay, I think we're stable. Mint tea.
One thing I do want to mention though, each region in this kind of Mediterranean area does have their own distinct elements that they like to incorporate into their interior design styles. So this is more just a broad overview of the Mediterranean style. Let's go ahead and move on to key elements.
I really like this B-roll right here.
Architectural elements are very key in this interior design style. You'll see a lot of archways and arches, you'll see beams, you'll see columns.
Right there it said like exposed elements. I don't really know what that means. Like architecturally exposed elements? I don't know if that's necessarily true for Mediterranean. Besides beams.
As far as furniture for Mediterranean design, there is kind of a range. So there's simple and functional on one end, and on the other, there's more of a formal.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true of like... I think when I made this video, it was more kind of like what I saw, how people were interpreting the style, and not necessarily like the true roots of like Mediterranean design. So like this is like a very, right here, a very like modern take. This is, I don't know if this is like true Mediterranean to the roots. So I don't know if I really agree with like this simply functional to formal. First of all, I'm not really sure what that means.
Oftentimes you will see some ornate detailing and richer wood tones brought into the furniture. Some fabric materials that you may see in furniture are things like linen, cotton, but even going a little bit more traditional and warm with velvets.
I don't think there is velvet often used in any sort of Mediterranean style. Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. My phone's making another weird noise. Hopefully that stabilizes some stuff, but let's continue.
Floral patterns are also something that you might run into with furniture in this design style. As far as color palettes go for Mediterranean style, there is a very neutral base of this interior. So you'll see a lot of like those creamy type walls, but they're not afraid of color either. So you'll see a lot of the signature terracotta colors, some yellow. Most of the time you will see those warmer toned colors come into this style.
I think this is overall correct.
You may also see walls finish in a plastered or sand type of texture that is really signature to this style.
I'm not sure what sand texture means. I'm just trying to explain like what plaster is, but I feel like everyone pretty much knows what plaster is at this point.
It's not always typical to just see straight drywall. So usually you'll see something that has a little bit more texture to it and something that has a little bit more visual depth.
Visual depth, I agree. I think that there are like different stone element. Like I think that they bring in a variety of like things for walls instead of just drywall. So I think that that's all pretty accurate.
As for window treatments, typically in this design style, you're going to see very large windows, and they don't want to cover those up too much because they might have a view of the sea, or they have them open because they want to encourage a nice breeze. So you'll typically see something a little bit more lightweight.
I will say there aren't a lot of places that will have like air conditioning. I mean, I think with global warming now there's probably more than there used to be, but I do believe windows are a main source of like letting breeze come in and kind of like ventilating a house in this like area. So I think that this is somewhat correct.
As far as accessories for Mediterranean design style, you'll see some ornate things, but they won't be super cluttered everywhere. So you'll see things that have detail, but they'll be kind of more minimal in the amount of items.
This might be like a personal preference of mine. I don't know if this is actually true to the design style. I do agree, like, yes, there's typically like detail, some like ornate and that sort of thing. As far as like the quantity though, I think that maybe I would like style a house with like less because the detail is more, to like have a nice balance. I don't know if that's something that you would commonly find.
There's a lot of history rooted into this design style.
There is about the same amount of history rooted in this design style as any other design style. I don't know if I would call it out specifically for having more history, perhaps.
And because of that, if you have little items or knickknacks that have some weathered look or look like they're vintage or handmade, those types of elements really bring the space to life and give it that character of a Mediterranean space.
I'm trying to think how I feel about what I just said. I think that in the US, we're just used to new things all the time, and that's why vintage has kind of like become cool, is because it is something that you can't always find. It's unique. I think that that's just like more rooted in other areas of the world. So I think that to us as Americans, we would say like, yeah, there's a lot of vintage stuff here. But I think like most other areas of the world would just be like, oh yeah, this is passed down, or like this is the style, or like I don't think that they consume as much, and so I think that's reflected in the design style. I don't know if I would walk into like an Italian house and someone be like, yeah, this is vintage, if that makes sense. They might, I don't know. But I think it's just like a difference of perspective more so than like people intentionally trying to like design and incorporate vintage stuff.
Now to talk about 3 different ways on how you can bring Mediterranean into your home.
Sorry, I know I haven't even said anything yet. I think I have a different perspective on like this whole section of the video that I incorporate throughout the series of like how to get this look in your home. But like if you don't have a home architecturally that's like this, I don't know if you're necessarily gonna get this look just by like a lot of what I'm about to suggest are architectural elements. And I think that that's kind of true for a lot of design styles. You kind of have to like work with the style of the home. Incorporating just accessories isn't always going to like get you the style that you want. So I think I agree with like the suggestions I'm going to make of like, here are the architectural elements that would say this might be this design style, or that this is a style that would lend well to this. I think that these are more like identifying elements rather than like things that you should incorporate to achieve this style.
The very first thing that I want to talk about is architectural details. This is such a signature look of this style that it really would be hard to have a builder grade home feel Mediterranean. So maybe that's putting in some columns, some archways, a few of those things that we talked about a little bit earlier. I would really try to incorporate as many architectural details as you possibly can.
See, this is what I don't know if I agree with this part. Just because you add these things into your house doesn't make this design style. These again are more like elements of this style, but if you have an existing house and you just go throw in some columns, it's not really going to transform that your house is now this style. It feels like a band-aid solution. Like if you're wanting a house in this style, you should probably one, just go find a different house that is a style, or two, like there would need to be like a pretty major renovation.
The second area that I would really emphasize is flooring. So having terracotta floor. Terracotta flooring is very signature to this design style. So if you can incorporate something like that into your home, then that is for sure a great way to get this design style. But also having some pattern tile or something a little bit more decorative in your flooring will also give you a very signature Mediterranean look. And even mixing both of those, if you have some terracotta and some pattern tile, having those combined really gives the vibe of Mediterranean.
I mostly agree with this. The only thing I want to say is like not any pattern tile would lend itself to Mediterranean. So just be careful on that. Hopefully this is like common sense, but I know this is common sense to some people, but not to other people, so.
And the last thing that is a little bit more attainable is to just bring in some outdoor influences. So in your accessories, in your materials.
Okay, then I have some different examples here. I do like those like 3 example things that I kind of like put together. It's not necessarily like the most engaging presentation wise, but I do think that those are all pretty solid examples of the design style.
Now to talk about a few similar styles. So last week we talked about French country interiors. There is a lot of overlap here, so I would definitely go check out that video if you haven't already.
This is another section of this video series I don't know if I necessarily like feel great about or love that I did. So I talked about 3 different design styles that like might be similar. It's mostly to like try and help people find like what styles they're into. So like French country, sure, I guess it's somewhat similar. Like it's European, white European like design style. They're gonna have some similar influences. Boho, sure. Southwestern, there are some common elements with Southwestern. I don't know, like this is very nice to like try and like broaden folks' knowledge of things. I don't know, I just feel like, I don't know if this was like a necessary thing to put here. Color palettes are similar. My voice right there. Color palettes are similar. I mean, I know sometimes I try to like have a higher voice because I think I traditionally have like a bit of a deeper voice. Okay, overall I give this video like a B. It wasn't horrendous. I'm glad it wasn't super long. I think it was somewhat informative, but I also don't think that I was like going off of like the root core historical like things with this design style. I don't know if that was a very like fun critique, I guess. Like it'd probably be fun if I had like more like raunchy things to say about myself. But yeah, I think this is an interesting design style. I personally like it. Some things that I would want to add to this video are just saying like, probably don't try to make your home Mediterranean style. Either you should have a Mediterranean house and look to this style for different ways you can accessorize and kind of like lean into that style, or if you're doing a major remodel, you are in like something that could lend itself to this style, and like geographically you don't need to be like in the region of Mediterranean, but I think you should probably have a similar, like here in Washington DC, having a fully Mediterranean house might be kind of odd. Having a Mediterranean house in Alaska, absolutely odd. There should probably be similar elements to the Mediterranean climate to have this house or style of house. But I don't think like trying to 100% lean into this style if this is not the kind of architectural thing that you have going with your house really makes sense. All right, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was entertaining. If so, let me know if you want to see me do other videos like this. I have plenty of other design videos that I could do this with. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next week. Big ideas are on another design style series video. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about interior design tips and inspiration. Today we are on another design style series video talking all about Mediterranean interiors. If this is... What is she? We go over background information on... Get a load of this bitch.